Oscar, this is the role of a lifetime, no doubt about it. Take us on that journey from the secret auditions to finding out the role you would play to stepping on set for the first time.
Well, I got a phone call, actually while I was working on A Most Violent Year, I got a phone call that JJ wanted to meet with me. And it was very funny because when I got that message, Albert Brooks was in the car with me, and I guess he had overheard it, and I suddenly got this message from an unknown number, and it was a message that was like, "Hi, it's JJ. Listen, Oscar, you don't have to come all the way out here. What are you going to do? You're going to be a robot?" And then I realized halfway through it was Albert Brooks that had called me, pretending to be JJ, which was fantastic. So then I fly out there, and I meet JJ in Paris for undisclosed, like for a general meeting, they say, even though I knew he was working on Star Wars. And it was Kathy Kennedy and Larry Kasdan and JJ, and they kind of take me through the story. They tell me about the character, and at that point, it was still kind of evolving, the idea of what the character was. And so I said, all right, well, let me think about this a little bit. And then that night, I met up with him in a cafe, and I said, is there any way I can read something? And so he gave me his cell phone, and it was so surreal. I'm sitting in a cafe in Paris. I've got his cell phone with me, and I'm just reading the new Star Wars script in front of him while he's just kind of watching. And I'm like, it's good.
No pressure.
It's very good. And then I said, all right, well, we'll talk soon. And then a couple weeks later, as the script changed and the character evolved, I got called out to London to read with John Boyega and to meet Daisy. And then that night I went to my hotel room and I got a call that I had the part.
Wow, okay, so
I blasted the music as loud as I could.
Right, yes. Oh, that's such a good moment. I would have done that.
Wait, so your first audition was in the cafe then? So really?
I mean, no, I was just reading it in the cafe.
But he was auditioning you in his head.
That's what he's doing.
But did you ever imagine, okay, so you're watching Star Wars for the first time.
It was Return of the Jedi that was in the movie theater. That's the first movie I saw in the movie theater.
Yes.
1983, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so here you are. Poe Dameron is flying an X-Wing fighter. You're getting into the X-Wing fighter. I mean, did you just go like, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I was, actually, the first day that I showed up to get in the X-Wing, because I had asked Harrison about this. I was like, how do you do it? Like, is there anything? I know you're an incredible pilot. Like, what do I do to? You know, I've never done any piloting at any kind. So, like, is there something I should know? And he says, it's in space, so none of the same stuff applies. Which was good to know. It's true. It's true. I hadn't thought about the physics of it.
So he's just like,
so he goes, just make it up.
He's
like, I didn't know what I was doing. I just made it up. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll make it up. But then I showed up to the set, and there was a blueprint of the cockpit with an ignition sequence that I had to touch these buttons in order to, start up the X-Wing. And then there was buttons that had already been assigned in other movies that I had to make sure that if I touch that button, that means that this is happening. And then these are the buttons that I can do as I wish. So I couldn't just make it up.
So it was more for like continuity to make sure that everyone's doing it the same way.
With the old ones, yeah. So all those guys that are watching are like, that didn't happen in episode 3. In episode 3, that.
But you know, Oscar, I forgot the most important question. Right at the top of this interview is, how is The Force Awakens?
I saw it last night for the first time. I'm kind of still in the state of shock because it's I don't even know how to explain it. I felt like a truck hit me afterwards. It was like a brain hack. It's like JJ hacked into my brain and accessed parts of my childhood and my fears and hopes and desires, and ultimately there's something that's so innocent and very beautiful, and it's just it's a symphony.
Did you cry?
I didn't. I did the guy thing where I just numbed out.
I would have cried.
I would have cried too.
I watched it with Gwendolyn Christie, and she was sobbing. She was sobbing.
You know, but this is, you know, your previous films. You know, Inside Llewyn Davis, which was one of the best movies of 2013. You know, Most Violent Year, Ex Machina, which is one of the best movies of 2015. And this film is just going to just like
catapult you.
Like, catapult you. Yeah. Like, and people are.
I need one of those.
Are you definitely?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people are going to, I'm sure, recognizing you already on the streets. You know, but I mean, what's it like adapting to that, like, fame?
Yeah, I mean, luckily New York is kind of fun in that way, where people, even if they do recognize you, they're more interested in what they're doing. So they just kind of, they're like, I got stuff to do. So, you know, there's a little bit of an anonymity there. It's weird, you know, it's a little bit embarrassing to get stopped, and so it's not the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, but, you know, we'll see. I'm good at blending.
Does it ever trip you out when you hear about, like, Harrison Ford talking about now Star Wars in 1977 and being paid $1,000 a week to have filmed?
That's pretty crazy. That is how much I got paid to do this one. The rest was going to Harrison.
Well, what was that like, stepping on set with the original cast members?
Honestly, it gave a feeling of authenticity. You know, it didn't feel like we're doing a version of the story. We're doing the story. I mean, they're here. That is Anthony Daniels in the C-3PO outfit doing the thing. That was an interesting thing because I asked him. I said, what's it like to be back doing this again? He says, I never left. This is what I do. He's like,
Wow.
year round. He goes to conventions. He's never left C-3PO, so he owns that.